Welcome. I'm delighted all of you can join us on this special rededication ceremony. Thank you to the Governor and the General Assembly, the taxpayers of Iowa, many private donors, and some of you are here today, designers, contractors, and construction workers, the Schindler Education Center Renovation Committee, and also the dedication of so many who made this renovation possible. I have the honor of serving as the Dean of the College of Education during this exciting time for the university. I joined the university in June 30th, and I've had the opportunity to watch the transformation of this facility. I remember walking around in my hard hat touring the Schindler Education Center. I've seen how the new spaces are transforming our faculty, staff, and students. The renovations have given us a dynamic learning spaces that are flexible, connected, collaborative, and technology-rich. Collaborative spaces enhancing community among students, faculty, and staff. Accessibility of faculty, teacher education offices, and the academic advisors in a one-stop shop. Flexibility and technology-rich spaces allow faculty to explore new learning possibilities and inspire students. The renovated spaces enabled us to prepare and ensure students are equipped with the tools they need as future educators. Just a little bit facts about the College of Education and UNI. At UNI, 1 of 4 freshman students major in education. Elementary education is the largest major on campus with more than 1,200 students. More than 400 new teacher graduates from UNI each year, making our educator prep program the largest in the state of Iowa. UNI graduates teach in all 99 counties in Iowa. That's a big deal. In 98% of the state school districts. I feel the pressure that we have to prepare with my colleagues, more students every year. I look forward to us continuing to build on our legacy of preparing high-quality teachers. It is now my pleasure to introduce President Mark Nuke. Mark Nuke began serving as the 11th president of the University of Northern Iowa on February the 1st. Prior to his appointment, he served as Chancellor of Montana State University, Billings. He is originally from Holstein, Iowa. He graduated from Southwest Minnesota State University with a bachelor's degree in physics and mathematics. He obtained a master's degree in astrophysics from Iowa State University. President Nuke received his PhD in astronomy from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Please welcome President Mark Nuke. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jean Marie. That's just a wonderful introduction. Welcome to UNI. It's a great day to be a Panther, isn't it? Thanks for coming out. Welcome to UNI, but also welcome to the Schindler Education Center. This is a wonderful facility. I unfortunately have no idea what it looked like before the renovation, but I'm completely blown away by what it looks like today. So lots of thank yous to be given. I want to start, first of all, by especially welcoming and thanking Senator Jeff Danielson for being here. Walt Rogers will be joining us in just a little bit, and Regent President Bruce Rastetter, thank you for joining us. We have also being joined by several distinguished guests today, notably Senator Charles Grassley. Thank you for coming back to your alma mater. It's great to have you back. Representative Russ Smith, Representative Mark Lofgren, Bob Kressig, Timmy Brown Powers, and Cindy Winkler, thanks for joining us. Regents, Sherry Bates, thank you. Milt Dakovich, Rachel Johnson, Larry McKibben, and Katie Mulholland, Regent President Pro Tem. This is a wonderful space, and as a kid growing up in Holstein, I didn't come to this institution for my undergraduate degree, but this institution impacted my life because many of my teachers got their education here at UNI. Probably not in the Schindler Rededication building since I graduated 41 years ago, but nonetheless educated by this tremendous faculty and staff. I want you to think a little bit about this building. It's been in existence for a little over 40 years. If we take care of it with renovations like this, it should stand and continue to serve for 50 more. We graduate 450 new teachers every year. If we do that for the next 50 years, I think that's 22,000 new teachers to Iowa and the entire country. If they each teach 20 students for 30 years and there's no overlap, they will reach approximately 13 million young people. Now, there'll be a lot of overlap. I had more than one teacher from UNI. But it says something about the power of education and the power of this place to change Iowa and to change our future. The future of Iowa is in education. It always has been, and this is a state that's known that and known it well, and has put the resources to do this sort of work and to prepare the teachers that we need. But it is a little overpowering when you step back and realize that the students who will pass through here the next 50 years may well be impacting more than 5 or 6 million students in this state. What a great way to start, right? It's just a wonderful feeling to be a part of that. I need to thank Governor Branstad, the General Assembly, the people of Iowa for the money that they put into this building, its original construction, and in this renovation. I also want to thank all of our donors. I've had a chance to meet many of you. We could have done the renovation, but we couldn't have made it as special as it is without the gifts of so many private individuals who have donated to this place to put the real finishing touches on and to create the spaces that we saw out as we were entering and the places that the students love. I've been in this building several times, and the way the students interact with it, they're here all the time. They're engaged with each other, they're engaging with faculty. So to the donors, to the people of Iowa, to the governor, the legislature, and to the regents for approving this, thank you very much. It's great to be a Panther today. At this time, it is my extreme honor and pleasure to introduce Regent President Bruce Rastetter. President Rastetter was appointed to the board in 2013. He also serves as the CEO of the Summit Agricultural Group, and which includes Summit Farms, headquartered just a little bit west of here. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming President Rastetter.
Thank you, President Nook. It's always an honor for us to be here at dedication ceremonies like this. I think that's one of the reasons we all work hard to be a regent, and as you know, that's also one of the reasons there's 5 regents here today, and you're sitting a little close together, so hopefully we don't have a quorum going. But a number of the regents, and starting with Rachel, the student regent, is a UNI student, and Regent McKibben came here, and one of our distinguished regents has 3 degrees from UNI, Katie Mulholland, that many of you know. And as I thought about today, and you think about teachers that impact your life, a few years ago when we first became regents, Katie and I, Katie was Superintendent of the Year in Linnmore. And I think that's a reflection of this institution and the work that it's done for a long period of time. And I think as we think back on some of the accomplishments of our time on the regents, one of the criticalness is state support for buildings like this. Because buildings all over the 3 campuses have to be renovated, they have to be improved. We need new buildings to keep up with the times. And the different legislators that are here, and Senator Danielson and a variety of you in the crowd were part of that. And critically important with that is the public-private partnership that goes on with donors. And a number of you are here and give to the variety of the 3 universities, and in particular UNI. And so I want to make sure that we publicly acknowledge that, Because it's one thing for the legislature to step up, and they did on this building, the pharmacy building, and the bioscience building at the other two universities that are critical buildings there, just as this is here. But without those donor dollars to finish that out, these buildings would not have been possible. And I think, as President Nook mentioned, you've impacted that many lives, and you'll continue to impact lives with quality teachers and an improved facility that'll make even better teachers as that comes out. So I publicly want to acknowledge all of you. Thank you for your generous gifts, and they're critically important. The other thing just to mention, and I think one of the really important parts, and as a board we've emphasized this, the critical need that is 70% of Iowa's teachers come from UNI, the need to make sure that we have state support with that. And I think a number of you from UNI know this, but 92%, 90% of your students are in-state students. And 10 years later, 75% of those are still employed residents of Iowa. And a few years ago, the board asked the legislature to make sure that we all recognize that, because it is a strength, it is not a weakness. And for generations, it's been a strength. It'll continue to be, and with the continued state support, it'll continue to improve the lives and quality of lives of Iowans all over the state. So thank you. Thank you for being here on this great day. Appreciate your support.
It's my pleasure to introduce Senator Jeff Danielson. He is an alum. He earned his bachelor's degree in public administration, summa cum laude, and a master's degree in public policy. He's a Navy veteran and professional firefighter here in Cedar Falls. Senator Danielson serves on the Senate Education Committee and is ranking member of the Education Appropriations Subcommittee. Please welcome Senator Danielson.
Go Panthers. So thank you, President Nook. Thank you to the leadership that's assembled here today. I'll just tell you, there's some heavy hitters in the room today. I told President Nook that whoever did your invite list today for this ceremony knew what they were doing. So we're thankful that you're all here. I was asked to speak about some of my personal experiences at UNI, and then acknowledge some of the private donors that make this possible. Regent Rastetter stole a little of my thunder, but we will still do that. But I also want to share maybe personal stories about the building, but I think what's most important is the people that are going to make it happen. So my experience in Schindler Education building as a student was it was the easiest building to get lost in. Because as soon as you turned around one corner, it was almost impossible to figure out how to get back out of it. And you had 4 floors to experience that kind of a layout. And think about it, too, as a firefighter. This is one of the buildings that when we got the call for something in Schindler Ed at the firehouse, the hair on the back of our neck stood up a little bit, because it's also a very hard building prior to the renovation to get in and do the work that we needed to do. So there's no question that it's a much safer building today with higher standards of how to get in and out during those events. So improvements all around. And I also want to just sort of set the stage for some of the other things that you've heard and are probably going to hear in other comments. I firmly believe that the Cedar Valley is the education capital of Iowa. And we are standing in what could be seen as the state capital of education, the Schindler Education Building at the University of Northern Iowa. You've already heard a little bit of evidence to support that belief with some of the stats that you've heard. And I think we need to think about that. Our state quarter has a schoolhouse on the state quarter, and it is one of the core values that Iowans have. And the Cedar Valley, it began with the State Teachers College. It continues now today as the Schindler Ed, the education program, and the University of Northern Iowa proper, as the place where we train the best teachers in the world. But the Cedar Valley also has a ton of other education institutions, private, nonprofit, and public, that I believe make us the education capital of Iowa. So to those in Des Moines, when you're talking about education with a capital E, this is the place where it all happens with excellence. And I think we need to celebrate that in days like this. So I know Walt Rogers was supposed to be with us. In the Senate, we would say, there he is, good. I was going to say he may want to yield the balance of his time to me since we were only given 3 minutes, but I don't need to do that anymore. And you'll learn as a legislator that you're required to be in 2 places at once pretty regularly, so I know that he had an event prior to this, and we're glad that you can make it. Let me end with the fact that I think in today's world of constrained, perhaps declining fiscal resources in the public sector, the only way you're really going to make public programs work is with durable partners in both the nonprofit and the private sector. And as I look out in the audience today, I see a ton of Cedar Valley citizens who, without their help, there would be no way you could have the excellence in the public programs like Schindler Ed and our education program here at the University of Northern Iowa. And I want to acknowledge particularly Dr. Ken Budke. If you don't know it, if you're around Dr. Ken Budke, good things are going to happen. And we've had a long history of working on things together. And I know that as we got ready to come in here today, you mentioned Dave Mason as well has been very helpful on the foundation and the other private sector partners to make the University of Northern Iowa the place that it can be and that we want it to be. So I want to acknowledge you directly. Look forward to the next time we're in a coffee shop because I know you're going to have a good idea and we're going to follow up on it. So thank you all for being here today.
Thank you, Senator. It's my pleasure now to introduce Representative Walt Rogers. He's also a UNI alum. He earned a Bachelor of Technology degree with an emphasis in manufacturing and management technology. While at UNI, Walt was a member of the track team and was active in both the Society of Mechanical Engineers and the technical fraternity Epsilon Pi Tau. Representative Rogers serves as chair of the House Education Committee. Please welcome Representative Walt Rogers.
Thank you. I want to thank President Nook and President Rassetter for those good introductions, and everybody that's here today. I want to thank you for this whole event. And I have got some very good memories of this building. And as President Nook talked about, I was on the track team, and I can remember we used to actually practice right out here on the old O.R. Latham Stadium when we were doing outside practice during the spring. And sometimes the only or the closest place we could run in and go to the bathroom or get a drink of water was to run in here. And so we spent a lot of time inside this building for that reason. And I'll never forget, I can remember some of my buddies coming in here and thinking, I feel like I'm in a spaceship when I'm in this building. It's just an interesting building. And I also had a lot of classes in here. My wife and I spent a lot of time in here. She graduated in speech pathology here at UNI. And so we would actually have lunch sometimes in the lobby out here together during our time here. So some fantastic memories. And some of you may know, my mother was a non-traditional student, and she got her teaching degree in the 60s at UNI. And so I was branded pretty early of bleeding purple and what it meant to be an educator and what it meant to be a teacher and how hard they work. And so I knew from the type of teacher that she was what it meant to be a teacher. And so that affected me and still affects me today as I have an opportunity to influence laws for our state in the area of education. I want to talk about a little bit, and Senator Danielson talked about, what we do down at the State House sometimes. And the contingent from the Cedar Valley, we agree on some things, we disagree on some things, but I know what we all agree on is UNI. And one of my favorite compliments, this is going to sound a little weird because it was inside our Republican caucus, and a compliment that was made to me was I got up one day and I was talking about UNI, and we're not supposed to talk about what happens outside of caucus. And so one of the other reps said to me, "Rogers, you sounded like Representative Kressig." And that, yes. When it comes to you and I, that's a good thing, Bob. And so I wear that badge of honor in the Republican caucus, and yes, sometimes I get tired of it. But we all from the Cedar Valley believe in the same thing as far as UNI and lifting that up and trying to promote what we're doing here at UNI. And so I was looking into some of my comments for this speech today and actually went online and looked at some of the things about the Rod Library. And this was a very interesting thing that I found on the website. And it fits this rededication of Schindler today. And it says this: two powerful interests converged in 1876 to provide the circumstances for the founding of the institution now known as the University of Northern Iowa. First, there was a strong desire for grateful citizens of Iowa to provide for the orphans of Civil War soldiers and sailors. And second, there was a long-perceived need for an Iowa public institution devoted solely to the training of teachers. These two widely held wishes, skillfully melded by the Black Hawk County legislators, resulted in an institution that has trained generations of teachers and other productive citizens for over 140 years. And 141 years later, I have the privilege of being one of those legislators. I have the honor and the privilege to be the chairman of the Education Committee in the Iowa House. And it's one of my greatest honors is to represent UNI down at the Iowa House this year and forever, however long that ends up being. I'm proud to be a Panther. I'm proud to speak highly of UNI. And I will always continue to advocate for what's happening in this building. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all for bleeding purple, like many of us do. And let's work together on what we can do for education here in the state of Iowa. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Representative Rogers. It's my pleasure to introduce Diana Briggs, who's an associate professor in the Department of Teaching. Diana has been a member of the UNI family since 1978. She is a servant to our students, her colleagues, and our community partners. She understands very deeply the many dimensions of our teacher education program. She has served in multiple leadership roles in the College of Education and across campus. It is my pleasure to introduce Diana Briggs.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, a lot of familiar faces, friends and family, neighbors. We welcome you to this event. I think I just figured out why I was asked to be here and speak on behalf of our faculty. I've been here since the building was built. I was a student. I have taught in this building, and I've had different offices in this building. This building has always been a home to good teaching. For 18 months, we were housed, those people who were normally in Schindler, we were across campus and teaching in various classrooms. And I can tell you those classrooms were designed for that old saying about teachers, you can be the sage on the stage or the guide on the side. They were for lecture and tightly designed discussion. We have come back to Schindler in the renovated room and space to find that we can be mentors in the center. We can model good teaching. These rooms were designed for large and small discussion, activities. The flexibility is phenomenal. For one-on-one conversation, as you've gone through this building, you'll see lots of space that was set up for small groups, individual discussion. You'll see faculty and students engaging in conversations, discussions, group work, That was not a possibility before the renovation. What we have done is we have created a space to truly do what's most important, and that is to teach teachers how to reach children. It's all about the kids. We can talk about, boy, I have a nice office, but the reality is, how's that going to make it better for the kids? And that's our goal. It's my honor and privilege to be able to speak on behalf of the faculty to say thank you for all of those who worked so hard and gave so much to make this a reality. Thank you.
Diana represents one of the many dynamic teachers, professors in the College of Education. It is now my pleasure to introduce Zach Koyman, who's one of our students, so you can have the perspective of students. Zachary is currently pursuing his Master's of Education in the Special Education Department after receiving a bachelor's in secondary history with a minor in special education. He currently serves as a graduate assistant in the Department of Special Ed, supervising students in their field-based practicum. This experience has allowed Zach to apply his academic and teaching experience in order to give advice and recommendations to other pre-service teachers. Zach is an excellent representative of our future teachers who will make great contribution to the field of education. It is my pleasure to introduce Zach.
Well, thank you, everybody, and thank you for having me. It's a deep honor to be able to represent the students for this rededication of the Schindler Building. I was also asked to talk about my personal experiences with Schindler. So I was here when prior to the renovations, going through the construction of it, and now with the new renovations as well. So regardless of where my learning took place, be that in the prior Schindler Building or in the Nielsen Field House or in this new renovated building, I can't begin to thank the professors at Schindler that have shaped me into the teacher that I have become. The teachers here have taught me to be a compassionate and loving teacher, but they've also taught me to have value in myself and to feel smart as well for the first time. However, the new renovated building can help professors continue to shape lives like my own and to continue to impact other students in more dynamic ways. For example, I have seen my professor, Dr. Danielle Colley, a professor that I'm a graduate assistant for, use the new renovated classrooms to have more group work and differentiated products through the use of her workspace and technology that is in the classroom. This type of inclusive and accessible instruction will create motivated students that will use these same teaching techniques for their future careers and practicum experiences in the Cedar Valley, Iowa, and all over the U.S. So I think that is such a benefit for all teachers that are going through this program. As I finished my last semester at the University of Northern Iowa in the new renovated Schindler Education building, I have seen positive impacts towards more accessibility for students. For the past 18 months, it has been lacking a student services corridor with teacher preparation all in one spot. I believe this service will allow there to be more interdisciplinary community between all of the professors here and to create more of a space that students feel welcome and can collaborate with one another. In addition, I believe that the renovated Schindler Education Building creates more excellence and preparedness in the classroom, as I described before. I believe that the new renovated Schindler Education Building will help with supervision for graduate assistantships. It will help with those students that I serve with them planning for their co-taught lesson plans by using the technology and the inclusive work spaces that are available to them to create these lesson plans. So in conclusion, despite moving away from the Cedar Valley and Iowa, I'm excited to hear how the Schindler Education Center continues to be used for inclusion and accessibility for future UNI students and future students they serve around the world. Thank you.
Zach is graduating this spring, so I'm already working on recruiting him to come back to get his doctorate. So I think I'm making some good progress. It is now my pleasure to introduce Julie Jardine Durr. Julie is a UNI alumni, graduating from the College of Social and Behavioral Sciences program. She is representing the Jardine Family Foundation and is joined today by her husband, Eric, her mother, Ann, her brother, Mike, and sister-in-law, Nicole Jardine, and her sister, Angie, and brother-in-law, Brian Jansen. We are so delighted to have you here today on this very special occasion. Once again, let me express my sincere appreciation for your generosity to support the work of preparing quality educators. Your investment in this project will transform teaching and learning for many generations of students. It is my pleasure to introduce Julie Jardine Durr.
Oh my gosh, I don't know, I might just can my speech. You guys all are so nice and everyone's smiley out there. Just for my own information, how many of you graduated or went to school here? If you raise your hand. That's a lot of people. That's great. So our family story began here in the summer of 1990. I had just graduated high school at Solon High School in Solon, Iowa, and anxious to see what my future here, of course, at UNI was going to be like. I too was asked to speak about my personal experiences, and so I'll touch a little bit on that first and kind of see where it goes from there. My summer orientation was in this very building, as well as my very first fall semester Monday morning, 8 a.m. humanities class. I learned really quick that I didn't want to be a humanities major, and I would never took an 8 a.m. again. Stuff you learn, I guess. So if you think about when this building was built, 1972, I was 1 year old. And the times were different. It was, the late 60s, they were designing it, early 70s, it was built. And there was a lot of change going on in our world. There was anti-war protests, civil rights movement, women's rights movements. And this building was probably constructed, we've talked a little bit about the spaceship and how big and dominant it is on this campus. And I think it was built for those reasons. It was built to withstand adversity and to be dominant and just to be really strong in those times that our world was not so stable. But when I arrived here in 1990, the world was a softer place to live in again. And when I walked in here, I was very overwhelmed. It was a big building, like we said. I walked by here, I felt like it was a fortress or a castle every day. And to see this being renovated and to make it softer and more, I guess, more conducive to the way we learn today and the way we live today was really a great opportunity for our family. When Bill Calhoun and Andrea Elliott approached our family about helping out with this, it was one of those opportunities you just couldn't pass up, especially when I'd been here and had been in this building so many times before. And so After we got through with our tour, I see it's still a strong and really dominant building on campus, and will certainly withstand the test of time, like you had mentioned, another 50 years at least. And I hope the students and the faculty certainly enjoy this building, and I know that there's so many of you that gave of your time and your resources to make this possible. And on behalf of all the donors, it is my pleasure and our family's pleasure to help make this what it is today, and we're looking forward to the many, 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 many teachers that will walk through these doors and touch the lives of students forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. UNI is proud of our alumni, and our next speaker is no exception. Shelley Veru is the 2017 Our Teacher of the Year. Can we please acknowledge our 2017 Our Teacher of the Year? She's right here. Shelley graduated from UNI with an elementary education degree in 1996 and has taught in the Newark Community School District since 1997. She is a fifth grade teacher and instructional coach at Lakewood Elementary School. Veru's passion for teaching has not waned over the years. Indeed, she has become even more passionate, owing it to her rock-hard determination that every one of her students will succeed. It is my pleasure to introduce Shelley Veru. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As Dr. Jean-Marie said, I am Shelley Veru, the 2017 Iowa Teacher of the Year, and I am also an extremely proud alumnus of the University of Northern Iowa, graduating in 1996. It's my extreme honor and pleasure to be here today to speak on behalf of the alumni of the College of Education at UNI. I'd like to thank President Nook, Dr. Jean-Marie, and other distinguished members of the faculty and staff of the university for inviting me to be here with you today. Schindler Education Center, or the SEC as we fondly called it during my time at UNI, was where I learned the basic tools I needed to become a teacher. As I look around this newly remodeled, beautiful building, it's hard to believe it's the same place where I learned how to become a teacher. I've been told that pretty much the only thing that exists from the original building are the 4 outside walls, and looking around, I can definitely believe that. With any good thing, though, change must come, and I can see that the officials at UNI spared no expense in making sure that students for years to come will have access to a state-of-the-art environment in which to learn. I'm going to share a secret with you. I'm extremely jealous. You're going to laugh, and most of the students, if any students are here today, will have no idea what I'm talking about, but state-of-the-art 20 years ago meant learning how to use an overhead projector, complete with transparencies and vis-a-vis pens, loading film reels, or going to the ERTS lab to use a large desktop computer, and then printing the finished product using a dot matrix printer. There were no laser printers for us. In 1996, laptop computers were still pretty much a thing of the future, but some students started to buy their own desktop systems, and if you were lucky enough to be able to afford one, you were the most popular person in your dorm room or apartment building. Don't get me wrong, UNI was progressive even 20 years ago, but I hope you realize how visionary and progressive they've been in the design and thought process of the SEC. I recently read an article on Edutopia by Jennifer Williams, and in it she states, collaborative learning spaces empower students to work with each other and with students in classrooms of the world to assume multiple perspectives, explore alternative solutions, and thoughtfully solve problems. Through the vision, commitment, and dedication of many people, current and future students at the University of Northern Iowa have been ensured that they will be provided with an atmosphere which will promote exactly what Ms. Williams described in her article. In an age where critical thinking skills and collaboration are keys to success, I believe the University of Northern Iowa has absolutely hit it out of the ballpark with the work they've done to create an atmosphere where future teachers will not only be able to work in collaboration with one another, but also learn the strategies needed to implement those collaboration skills with their future students. Students today aspire to work in flexible environments that fit unique learning styles. The opportunities that have been created in this beautiful venue will afford students the ability to do just that. On behalf of the alumni, I'd like to extend a huge thank you to everyone involved with this endeavor. Future teachers will flourish in this environment. Congratulations on a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. UNI's connection to teaching is our foundation. This extends across campus and even to the bells of the campanile. In 1926, the first 15 bells were dedicated to the key constituents, which includes bell number 4 to the students, children of Iowa, bell number 6 to the students and alumni, bell number 9 to the teachers in Iowa, and bell number 10 to the State Board of Education. We honor that long connection between schools and bells, which signify the beginning of a new day in education. It is my pleasure to ask those on the stage to please pick up their bell and join me in ceremoniously ringing in a new beginning for the Schindler Education Center. Thank you for coming today. We hope you will join us for some, the bell is still ringing. We hope you will join us for some refreshments and spend some time exploring this beautiful building. Some of our College of Education ambassadors are excited to show you this wonderful space, and we'll also be offering guided tours that will be departing from the northeast corner of the great lobby by the elevators. Again, thank you for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your day.